Designing Lighting, and I'm here with Brian Liebel of IES, and we are discussing the upcoming symposium in Orlando in April. Brian, welcome.
Thank you very much, Randy. Glad to be here.
Well, tell our audience first the basics, the dates, the location.
Yeah. It's April 10th to 12th in Orlando, Florida. It's all on our website in terms of the hotel. It's right near Disney Springs, so come on down and visit Disney before or after, but the key thing is the symposium. And it's all about light plus intelligence is the theme. Really, it's all about how the computer and the intelligence that we have now, how we're integrating that into lighting design, lighting practice, data, analytics, operation, how it affects people working in spaces and designing spaces. So it's really exciting. Great group of speakers and a lot of diversity in what we're going to be talking about.
Well, I agree. You've got a great group of speakers, 20 people, and they're big names, and they're people that don't normally speak all the time. So I do think there will be a rare opportunity to get into some of their minds. I see Thomas Patterson is discussing AI.
Yep.
Now, what's your thought about that? How would we ever use AI in lighting?
Well, everything is going to be some form of AI, isn't it? I mean, at this point in time, the way lighting fixtures are being looked at is a place to hold intelligence. And in some cases, that means that in the lighting fixtures, the intelligence is going to be watching people, tracking people, moving the light with people, learning their environment and the things that they do, and possibly even manipulating the environment to try to get people to move in certain ways. Some of the things that are out there now are, movable beam steering as an example within light fixtures. And that could be either programmed and or learned by virtue of the way that we see people interacting with space. So there is no doubt that this is coming into the lighting design realm. Some people will go so far as to say, okay, maybe someday these lighting systems, we pop them in the ceiling, they learn through the environment, the interactions of how people are using it, and they actually then just adapt to that and start programming themselves based on what they learn.
Okay, so I want to put it in very, very simple terms.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say these movable beams that you're speaking of,
mm-hmm.
Are you telling me that artificial intelligence can kind of tell where I'm looking and the beams will move to where I'm looking?
Yep.
And then there could be fewer fixtures because you don't need as many fixtures.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's fascinating.
It
is fascinating.
That is fascinating. I see where Jason Reed from Disney Imagineering is speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I cannot imagine what he's going to say about Disney because they've always been on the forefront.
Well, and it's really fortuitous that we're going to be down there and that Jason's coming to talk to us about this because, so much of what we do in lighting, especially with regard to intelligence and how we create spaces and environments, some of the industries that lead this are the entertainment industry. And specifically, when you think about the rides that are done, the attractions that are done, the optical illusions they create. And those folks know a lot about lighting, a lot about vision, a lot about psychology. Their Imagineering department is something that is, I think, just a great place to start this program. Jason's going to be on the first evening in our presentation on Sunday evening on the 10th, and I can't wait to see what he's going to have to say either because they just do some great stuff, and I've always been leaders in this.
Always. Another one that caught my eye, Nelson Lerma speaking about digital twins.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even have a chance to look that up. What in the world is digital twins?
So imagine you have a space that you're creating and you want to make a twin of that on your computer. And that's basically what it is. You are digitizing the reality of a space in a computer so that you can backtrack and utilize that in creating more design opportunities by sort of living in the space virtually. So you're creating this digital twin of the application. I've seen this happen where they do this in, as an example, in a real building, it's surveyed, they take the photographs, they create the digital twin, and then they design based on what they see and create new spaces out of it. But the idea is that by immersing yourself in the environment, it allows you a new opportunity for how you design lighting, surfaces, the interactions, spatial integrations of different things in ways not ever imagined before.
Okay, it is fascinating. Another subject that I like a lot, I don't know much about, is augmented reality,
Mhm.
virtual reality in the design field. Tell our audience a little bit about what we should expect from that session.
I think this is absolutely fascinating. And it's really one of the things that I find kind of really interesting from a research perspective. Um, how close can we come to creating a space in AR and VR, an augmented or a virtual reality, to being so real that you think you're in it? That it can be so real that if you test things with virtual reality, let's say you're going to be doing a research test on detection or glare or anything else, and you create a virtual space and you're testing a person for that. And as opposed to having to build something out. And so some of the tests that are being done right now is to say, let's say I'm going to do a real live space and then a virtual reality space. And I'm going to have people give me what they think of it in the real space and compare that to how they feel about it in the augmented or virtual space. If those things are so close together, that means we have new opportunities to do research in virtual reality because we're finding that we can simulate it so closely that we can, get really good results out of that method. That's a really cost-effective way of doing research. It's a fascinating way to start doing some things that otherwise would be cost prohibitive. And a lot of this is being driven by the gaming industry. That's another thing that you saw probably in there is that we've got some folks from the gaming industry talking about what they've done and their technologies, their computers. It's all about that for the gaming industry, right? To make it realistic so that you feel like you're in the space and immersed in it. It's bringing that technology into the architectural realm and into the lighting realm.
Is there anything I haven't asked you, Brian, that I should ask you about the symposium?
Well, I think that one of the things we try to do with a symposium, it's a biannual event. And the real value of these research symposium is the interaction you gain with some of the people that are leaders in this arena, the light plus intelligence. As you said, there are some people here that are not the normal suspects, if you will, in our normal events and presentations. Some people that you wouldn't probably think of, and some very different ways of thinking. It's really diverse. I think it's going to be dynamic. I think you're going to see a lot of differences in opinion. With Thomas Patterson, actually, he's going to be kicking it off. We're going to throw into question, okay, everybody thinks this is wonderful. Really? Is it? What is it going to mean to us, in the future? So we'd like to think of this as a real challenge. I want to, challenge people's intellectual thought process about how we do things, where we're going to go, is it the right thing to do, and what is our future going to look like after this?
Okay. Well, Brian, I'm very excited, and thank you so much for explaining this to our audience.
Thank you very much, Randy.